Wow, you're not gonna believe this.
Watch them grow, perceive, devote. This is the seed, light the show. Watch them grow.
Hey guys, Princess India here for the 99 and the 2000 whatnot or whatever.
You know what I'm saying?
The purpose of this intro is to break down to you everything that I usually say in the beginning of each sign's video, but the intention of it is to cut down on time so we can jump straight into the messages and into the reading. I decided to be really extra and separate this into X.
X number one.
I start with a pick a card. Now, what is the purpose of the pick a card? The purpose of the pick a card is actually the extended reading. So the 3 cards that we pick are actually never really talked about here. I don't want to send everyone over to Vimeo to get an extended that they may not need. So in the event that you watch the YouTube general and you feel that you need a little bit something extra and you decided to pick a card in the very beginning, you would follow me over to Vimeo at the end of the video and you would go by that group that you picked. Act number 2. Right before we get into the cards, usually around the time that I'm shuffling, I give you guys any intuitive messages or visions that I saw for your particular sign. The whole purpose of this is to set your energy and to set your intention and to give you guys a general energy for the month in accordance with whatever comes out with the cards. Act numero 3. It's number 3. Act number 3 is just a reading. It's not awkward. So anywho, let's get into your reading. Hello there, sassy crabby. I don't know where that came from, Cancer. It just felt right in the spirit, so I went with it. Sassy crabby. You're a sassy crab this month. Welcome to your November reading. Please don't judge me. We're going to go ahead and start with you guys' intuitive message. Hopefully you watch the intro so you understand where it is I'm going with this and whatnot or whatever. We're trying to get our little timing straight. So 1, 2, and 3. If you picked card number 1. Whoa, that's an interesting card. We have collaborative dreaming. Oh, that's fascinating. I need to hurry up because y'all intuitive messages like in the front of my brain. Okay, if you picked number 2, you have trust yourself. That's on point. And if you picked card number 3, we have new birth, guarded vigilante. Vigilantly. Did I say vigilante? Guarded vigilantly. I said vigilante for good reason, Cancer, because going into you guys' intuitive message and why these 3 cards are so fascinating for me is what I'm seeing for you all. I saw, okay, Scorpio season, forgive me. It's scabs, right? A person not covered in scabs, but a person that's a scab, okay? Big giant scab. Let's move along because it's a little gross. So what this is that, and it reminds me of Piscean energy because I did Pisces before you all. I'm not really surprised because, you know, the whole water sign connection thing. But what this is symbolic of is similar to Pisces in the sense that with Pisces, I talked about like it's an unfolding for them, but more or less a gathering together first. Because it's them feeling like all over the place, but by the end of the month, it's them like being pulled together and something clicking. But with you guys, I'm seeing this scab as more or less a block from wounding. Now, it doesn't matter how far back this wounding is for my Cancerians, whether it's childhood trauma or, you know, literally a divorce, whatever, doesn't matter. But it's a wound nonetheless. The wound underneath it is healed, but the scab is there. And that is what's preventing what's underneath the fresh, new, renewed skin from coming forth. So the scab needs to be pulled off in so many words. But why this is important is because I'm feeling that there is something, and I kind of felt this similar for Taurus as well. There's something inside of Cancer. Watch the Taurus reading, by the way, because that's the whole Uranus energy. So anyway, moving right along. But there's something inside of Cancer or Cancer's authentic self or the part of you that has healed that needs to be brought to the forefront. So I'm almost feeling it as if there is, it's a desire, it's an idea, it's a gift that Cancer has that they have deviated themselves from because of past wounding. And how do I want to say this? if I were to say it very, very clear, to just get straight to the point of what I'm picking up from this essence wise, the goal of Cancer in the month of November is to unearth their gift, like spiritual gifts is really what I'm speaking about here. Spiritual gifts or internal drawings, like things that you feel really led to, because in order for Cancer to find themselves this month, Cancer finds themselves and finds their path forward within flow with the universe. So how I'm seeing this is, if you, I said this with Pisces too, if you build websites, right, and you stopped doing that years ago, the key this month would be to go back to this thing that you used to love to do and lose yourself in it so that you can find yourself. That would be the key. To go back to something that you know and you love that used to bring you great joy, right? Or even if it's a hobby that you're still doing now that you might have put on the back burner, it's more or less a need to go back to something that you love, to lose yourself in it so that you can find yourself, because that's the method through which Cancer is rebirthed in November, or you get into alignment or find your path forward in November, is to lose yourself so that you can find it. And the addition is to lose yourself in flow with the universe, because that's that sweet spot in creativity when we're working on something and everything else disappears, like hyper focus, like when you're Googling stuff at 3 a.m. and you get into a whole Google downward spiral binge type of thing. It's being in that space that you guys are going to find the blueprints of the path ahead of you, if that's making sense. And I'm going to give my disclaimer now, Cancer. It's Mercury retrograde. Y'all already know that I talk a lot, but the whole thing is the ease in my communication is I'm on the struggle bus of communicating this month. So just bear with your girl. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, into your cards, the central energy we have for Cancer. Oh, how wonderful is the Magician. This is challenged by the 9 of Swords. Past influence is the 6 of Swords. Your underlying influence, wow, is the 9 of Cups. Pisces had that. Going forward, we have the Sun card. Oh, snap. And our above energy is the 10 of Swords. Cancer. I can already tell you that what it is that we are dying to in the month of November is an old mindset. And I would even say going into our intuitive message talking about, you know, old wounds. It's false core beliefs about ourselves, false judgments we've made about ourselves. It's societal conditioning. It's childhood conditioning. It's lies people have told you about yourself that you may have believed, things you haven't forgiven yourself for, or faults that you feel that you have that you've tried to hide or protect from other people, things of the sort. In essence, the challenge is to face yourself in the mirror and battle your own demon this month, Cancer, because I feel the only blockade that's holding you guys back is your own perception of self. And whether that's a self-worth issue or just how it is that you perceive your life or perceive other people or perceive how pathways go in life, is more or less to gain clarity on this, to gain clarity on your truth, to own your truth, to use that light to more or less clarify your experiences up to this point. And this is literally repeating myself from literally everyone up to this point, but learning lessons from where it is that you've come from and choosing to leave behind any unfinished business, anything that brings you down vibrationally, anything that causes chaos and calamity in your life, anything that is taking away from you and not adding to you. It's now time to close the cycle on those things and to only go towards things that reflect your peace. But still, with the Magician being you guys' central energy, we're talking about this in the sense of you guys taking dominion over your experience. So this is more or less something that is authored as well as initiated within Cancer. Now, to gain a little bit more clarity on this, to look at what the root influence of this is with the Nine of Wands that we have, the Nine of Wands, the Nine of Cups as our underlying influence, what it is that Cancer wants to think about. And this is an exercise that I do in therapy, right? If you had a magic wand, right? And you could wave this magic wand and fix everything that is wrong with your life. Like literally everything. Make a list of all of the things that you would make right, that you feel are presently wrong, right? And this is something I actually want to give you guys charge to do, right? So from a note takers out there, write that down. If you had a magic wand and you could wave it and you could fix everything in your life, and there's no consequence, there's no catch, there's no certain number of wishes, none of that, right? But everything that ails you at this present moment, whether it's external life, internal life, what have you, if we want to go that far of making this really applicable to life, we could put it in the sense of areas of your life, right? If you could fix, like if we think about finances in your financial life, what would you use your magic wand for there? In your romantic relationships, in your family relationships, in your friendships, right? With your job, with your, purpose and mission, with your perception of yourself, in your physical body, what have you. Any of these things that, these areas of your life, if you could wave this wand, what are the things that you would fix that are presently wrong, right? Now, once you guys do that, all of the things that you list, these are all of the things that you will be given charge or are be given charge to heal in your life, right? Now, hypothetically, if we say like, if I could fix something that was wrong, and let's say hypothetically, it's like, I wish that I could change the fact that, my, ex-husband or parent, is not a narcissist, right? Now, in reality, we know we can't literally change the fact that another person is a narcissist, right? But there's still power in that sense because we can change our perspective about it. First, we can accept that's who they are. That's who they chose to be. That's their lot in life. That's the path that they're on, right? Granted, if we're talking about a parent, what they did affected me in these ways, right? But granted, if that's who they are, this is what I experienced, and now I have the power to change how I choose to move forward. How do I want to reframe my experience? What did I learn from that? Is it that as a parent, I would never treat my kids like that? Is it that I'm inspired to do something about that? Do I want to educate people about narcissism? Do I want to dig deeper into how my parent being a narcissist has affected my self-concept? And now I want to reconstruct how I view myself because I understand that that's their problem, that's their issue, and it says more about them than it does about me. You know what I mean? There's still ways and areas with things that are seemingly, we can't make, like literally wave a magic wand and change that specifically. But just giving you guys an example how it can be reframed in so many words. But that's really what it is that you guys are facing this month. It's your biggest fear. It's, the ball and chain. It's your, inner demon, that thing that you've been avoiding, the thing that keeps you up at night. You know what I'm saying? Whatever it is, it's your light bill that's due that you need to pay, whatever it is, The whole thing is what is going to usher you guys from a past tumultuous time, right? And into something that's more in alignment with you guys' truth and true authentic happiness and fulfillment. Is by you guys finally identifying and facing the thing that you guys have been carrying with you all of this time. I do feel with this, I cannot talk. I do feel with this, it's a theme of a final showdown with all signs, right? Because I feel that this is a very limiting, conflicting, cumbersome, mental block, or person, whatever, I feel that as you guys have grown and transitioned to different parts of your life, I really do feel like it's a mindset. It's almost as if in every new cycle, Cancer has carried this block with them. And it's kind of like the buck stops here. So it's almost as if, like, how I'm literally seeing it right now, which is really creepy. Like I said, Scorpio season, whatever. It's like me seeing it as being shadowed by a person. So it's almost like if you think about an arch nemesis. So, and I mean, we could literally say it as your shadow, but I don't want to say that because I don't want to defame the shadow, because the shadow is very important, but that's neither here nor there. But the way that I'm seeing this is it's like a person who's walking through their life, and I'm seeing it like from childhood all the way up to adulthood. In your entire life, there's been this person that has followed you everywhere. And this person is like a shadow being person. And as you grew, it grew with you. And that's like your arch nemesis, right? It kind of reminds me of like, no. Would that be? Okay, let me leave that alone and keep going. So anyway, it's like an arch nemesis that's following you everywhere. And unbeknownst to you, behind your back, this person has been sabotaging everything it is you try to build. So it's like when you were in, daycare when you were little, like you built up this little castle out of blocks. You turned around for 2 seconds to get your juice box. You turn around and your castle is knocked down and you're like, you cry because you're a little kid. You know what I'm saying? But it was the arch nemesis that's behind you that kicked it down. You slid your paper under your professor's door when you were in college, just in the nick of time. And as soon as you had a sigh of relief and walked away, your arch nemesis stuck a little, rod underneath your professor's door and scooted your paper out and took the paper. And then you were trying to figure out why you failed the class, and it was your arch nemesis. But no one ever told you until now when I'm telling you, right? So what's happening in November, the final showdown for Cancer, and what I'm seeing, because all of this is coming from this 9 of Swords in so many words, is this thing that has been behind you all of this time that you were completely unaware of, that has been sabotaging your entire life. This thing is finally going to step out from behind you and then come and face you and be like, hey, that castle you built with the blocks, that was me. That paper you turned in that you were so sure you stuck under the door and you failed that class, that was me, So it's facing your demon in that way. So it's not necessarily a need, and I'm being told for some of you, this is going to end up happening in the dream realm. So pay attention to your dreams. And if you have not already joined my dream interpretation group on Facebook, the link is below. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, but there's going to be a final showdown in that sense. So some of you, it's going to be in a dream space. For others of you, I feel it's just going to come in the form of intuition or an aha moment or an epiphany or experiential, to where you find yourself in the same dynamic that you've been in before. And suddenly this time it's like, whoa, wait a minute. And it's like suddenly you see it differently. And I feel that's going to be this nemesis, so to speak, this demon, this wound revealing itself. It's like, whoa, this is like, I respond to this because of that. Or, wow, I'm responding to this person the same way I started responding because of XYZ. That's more or less how I feel it's going to come up for you guys. But it's going to offer just enough of almost like a clarity and a pathway for you guys to see what is the theme this month for everyone, how much power and control you have over your experience. And if it's not literally changing the past, because none of us can do that, it's knowing that you have the power and the ability to reframe and thus change your future. So I feel for you guys, it feels pretty linear and like one hitter quitter straight to the point. And that's why I say it's like a mindset. I don't really feel it's so much you guys in relation to other people. It feels heavily to me like a perception or a mindset. And I would even go as far as saying that with all of the sword cards that we have here. But I really feel it's a mental block, a perception, a false core belief, or what have you, that has, because that's the only thing I can see literally that would be with you guys since like childhood and follow your entire life, that's sabotaging you. You know what I'm saying? And it's like finally seeing like, that's what it is. You know what I mean? And I feel it's going to become very clear. It's going to be very easy. But it's just having that realization and that revelation. It's dual, like a double-edged sword in the sense, like a double-edged sword of truth in so many words, because it offers clarity to where in that exact moment, you get to cut away the bondage that you have with your past and then cut the pathway forward into your future. So it's almost like a dual deliverance in the sense. And it's like, and the sword itself is the truth and the power that you possess. So it's like finally seeing that you hold the sword that releases you from the past, right? Releases the change from the past, removes you from bondage, and also clears the pathway forward for your future. So this is an epic, like, aha moment that's going to come. And like I said, going from the Magician into the Sun card, it's a balance, it's a union, it's a peace, it's a clarity that's leading you guys out through November and into December. So how it's looking for me, Cancer, is super good. I'm just saying, you know, it's just, you know, meeting your arch nemesis and what's not, or whatever. The saboteur and what's not. I hope this isn't a literal person because that would be really creepy. But you guys can go ahead and ask a yes or no question if you like. You know what I'm saying? Interesting. We have Cancer. We have Sagittarius. We have yes is the answer to your question. We have the X. Some of y'all might need to cut off your X. I'm just saying, moving right along. Then we have Sun. So Sagittarius, Cancer, yes, Sun, and the X. Wouldn't that be interesting? Just saying, moving right along. So we're going to go ahead and throw the dice that have no name for my Cancerians and whatnot or whatever. Then I see Aries and Leo in our Magician and the Sun card here, if that's of any relevance to anyone. But another thing is that another energy that's influencing a lot of this is how do I'm hearing two different things. What is this? It's Cancer getting reattuned or introduced to, for some of you, of what a fulfilled life is. So it's like living in fulfillment, and that more or less becoming the schematic that everything else in your life aligns with. So for a lot of you too, it's so this is either the byproduct of this epiphany. It's like remembering, and it's like I'm hearing this in a sense of like the whole hobby creative type of thing. It's like, so for some of you, it's going to be an epiphany or even a new experience that ends up becoming the energy that ushers you forward. But it's like the consistency is reattuning to like that creative side of you. And like how I talked about in your intuitive message, like flow, getting lost in flow is how you find yourself. It's almost, I'm hearing it like this is about to get so deep, dog. Like this is your communion with like God, spirit, universe, whatever. When we are in creative flow, that is one of the few times in our day-to-day life that we're unbothered by the external world and we're able to be fully present in this moment and directly connected with all there is. And in that moment is when we become a true vessel or portal for the divine. And the divine is able to express itself through us, right? And that is a very fulfilling feeling for Cancer. So there are some Cancerians who may have experienced flow, but didn't know what to call it. So it's like that sweet spot when you're really focused and you get lost in something. And for others of you, you haven't been in this space in a very long time. But regardless, there's going to be an opportunity, an epiphany, a dream, a desire, whatever, that's going to come into you guys' path. And it's going to end a chapter in your life where this will always, like, flow will always be your safe space. So whenever you get lost, confused, you forget who you are, it's utilizing this, medium, whether it's your creative talents, just meditation, whatever, to get back into flow so that you can lose yourself, so that you will be found again. And why this would be a cycle that's ending is because it's no longer looking to one's mind, like the brain, to solve one's problems. It's needing to check back into my baseline, my homeostasis, my peace. And that now becomes this is getting so deep, the light into my path. That becomes my sword of truth. That becomes, my deliverer and my deliverance, in so many words. That's the salvation, the freedom is tuning back into flow, which is spirit, universe, God, whatever you want to call it. And that more or less being like, that's the pathway. And that is something that Cancer has stepped out of alignment with, or only been in tune with here and there. But this month is about learning how to, this is so crazy how this is linking up with all of these other readings. This is creepy. It's returning to one's, like, inner paradise, in a sense. And what's going to change you guys' pathway forward is now being introduced to this. You never have to be away from it again. So you always know, whenever you get lost, confused, whatever, you can always go back to the state within yourself and be reminded again. We're just going to go with it, Cancer. Wow. We're going to throw the dice that have no name. Man, by the time I finish, all 12 signs about to be a catalytic energy. I feel it. It's like I'm getting chapters of a story for the month of November with each sign. Each sign is a freaking chapter. Each sign is a chapter. And it's like, Cancer, you just gave me an epiphany. Like, Cancer just made everything prior to this make sense. And I can't wait till I'm finished with all the signs so I can see what the story is. This is so interesting. So, the dice that have no name. We have Aquarius. We have the number 10. And then we have North Node and South Node. That is so fascinating. Oh, yeah. Wait, let me write this down. Our little oracle in the extended. Whenever North Node and South Node comes up in the dice that have no name, I always use it as an oracle. That's so interesting. And the 10, completion of a cycle, and then going back to 1, you know what I'm saying? Okay. Anyway. All right. So, with North Node, we have, you're now learning something new about your destiny, where you're going, what you're developing, that you will carry forward your legacy. Yeah, I'm Shannon, whatever. And the number 10, you guys, major arcana to meditate on this month is the Wheel of Fortune. And if we reduce 10 to 1, of course, we have 1, and it's the Magician, which is you guys' central energy. And this says, take time to do a personal review of your journey so far. Remember, success is seeing where you were, where you are now, and what you did to get there. And that is the definition of success. Relinquishing control, knowing when one needs to surrender to all that is, and trusting in spirit that everything is going to pan out, that at the end of the day, I am the author and the heir of my own destiny. Even if I am not in control of external circumstances, I still have control over how I perceive them. You know what I'm saying? And getting very clear on what it is that you guys want to build moving forward. Yet taking into account, like what I said on Instagram today, understanding, like in Mercury retrograde specifically, it's like we're learning that life is not linear, right? And that as much as we want to fall into this illusion that we have control, we don't. So it's more or less things being upset or changed around, or things not going according to plan, so that we can realize that we don't have control, except that, like the Wheel of Fortune, things are always shifting and changing, but more or less embracing the power that we have in the midst of the chaos. So that way nothing can really ever come onto our path to upset us or throw us off or anything of the sort. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, Cancer, that has been your reading. I love your freaking face, and I'm going over to Vimeo to get into our 3 groups, so if you're about that life, follow me over there. If not, I still love your freaking face, and I will see you guys sooner than later. Shock you to hear from whatever this energy is representing and for them to offer you something, but the that you've given up on. And I feel that's going to be coming in probably like 2nd or 3rd week. For my group 1 people, I really feel like that's the demon or the mindset that you guys are going to be battling this month. That feels a tad bit career oriented for me too. Now with my group 2 people, I feel this with you guys. I feel it for work more than anything. I mean, work, purpose, anything of the sort. I feel with you guys, y'all have a gift, y'all have a talent, y'all have a calling, but it's a lack of trust in one's ability, of either feeling you're not ready, you're not trained enough, you don't know enough, or something of the sort. And I feel for you guys, it's more my group 3 people, and you guys picked the new birth. I said vigilante, I remember I said that. My group 3 people, what I feel for you guys is y'all are going through an epic transformation, and it makes, if you're kind of feeling in hermit mode or stepping away from everyone, or y'all are just kind of low key and, you know, out of the spotlight.